everybody, this is Joseph Propati, and today I'm going to be covering my updated game called Zombie Apocalypse, the dice game. Now this dice game, board game, is similar in its functions a little bit like Dungeon Hack. So if you're familiar with that game, you kind of have an idea of the dice placement option on this game. But it is different in many ways. One, it's a zombie apocalypse type game. It is also a solitary game. But originally I had this as a P&P in Board Game Geek, and it was playable, but I didn't like really the layout of it, how it played. I didn't like the game board. I didn't like the combat of how you dealt with zombies or raiders. So I kind of deleted everything and kind of took it back to the drawing board and reworked it. And this is so far the final upgrade to that older version of the game. Now, right off the bat, people who have played it, they're going to see a big change in the game board. Now, this game board, it kind of evolved from my wanting it to be more of a realistic type of attack from outside targets. So, meaning that you can be attacked from all sides. Before, it was kind of a left or right. I didn't have like an all-around attack structure, and this board gives me that option now. You have 4 soldiers that are kind of traversing through different locations, and when things happen, they can come at them from all sides, and it means certain groups of soldiers can get attacked and take damage. So that's where this evolved from, this larger full 360 style game board. It's 24 by 24, and all these components are on Board Game Geek. So all the updated files are there, so you could go on there, you can download them. I have the rules in Dropbox because I want people to read it, let me know if they see anything that they need to update or change, and then I will put the final version into Board Game Geek. So it's kind of more of a read, see if you can understand it, see if it makes sense, give me feedback, and then I will change what needs to be changed, and then I will put it in the file section for Board Game Geek. So again, everything, all components are in and downloadable as PMPs from Board Game Geek. So the game is ready to play, and what I want to do in these videos is the first one's going to be to kind of talk about what has changed in the upgrade version of it, what new components you're going to see, a little bit of how the gameplay has changed, and just kind of cover that in this video, talk about the game itself. Then in other videos I'm going to talk about the rules, and then I'll do another video on playthrough. I've deleted the old videos because they don't follow this game. Yes, the premise is still the same in the way you move and use your soldiers and the way you dice place, but it's a different game in the sense that there's more stuff that I've added, especially with the way the location tiles or the location cards are going to be used. Everything now is poker-sized cards. There's no small and large cards. The only thing that's different size are the character tiles. So, but all the cards in general, they're all poker-sized cards. So that's one of the nice things. I think I had some different sizes for the zombies and different stuff like that. So right here, the things that you see on the table, here's the custom dice. Now you can use regular 6-sided dice. I have a chart that shows conversion from just using 6-sided, or you can make stickers and stick them on some blank dice, or you can talk to me and I can make you some custom dice. I have an engraver and I can engrave dice for you. I do sell those. So I want to get this so it's a nice, good, functional game so people like playing it. And then what I'll do is I'll put it on the Game Crafter. I'll just put all the components on Game Crafter. So that way you can get a little higher quality if you don't like, doing a PMP. Also, I wanted to let you know that if you don't like doing PMPs and you have TableTop Simulator, I've put this on TableTop Simulator. All the components are there, the rules are there. So if you have that through Steam, you can search for Zombie Apocalypse, the dice game, and subscribe to it, and you'll be able to play it on there. Again, it's a solitary game. Gameplay is about 45 to 60 minutes, but that's up and down. Depends on how well you know the game, and ages, I'd say maybe about 13 plus. So that's it about the game. And then in the next section, I want to give you the synopsis and then kind of the mechanics of the game, the overview and then the objective of the win and lose. So let's go into that on the next section of the video. Hello again, this is Joseph Propati, and in this section of the video I'm going to cover a little bit about the components, the synopsis, and win-loss victories. And then after that I'll cover the full setup. And then in a full other video I will do the rules and possibly a partial playthrough, just so you can kind of get an idea of how things play. But for here, this section, let's just talk about the synopsis of the game, you know, what you're doing in the game. And basically, Zombie Apocalypse, a dice game, it's a solitary rolling dice placement game. You control 4 elite naval SEALs, and you're trying to get to a fallout shelter by searching for 5 electronic components that you'll be using to open up the final location door at the SATCOM 1 facility. This guy. In that process, you're going to be searching through 15 separate location cards. And then once you have found all 5 cards, you head towards the SATCOM 1 card and then deal with any kind of targets or zombies or raiders that are in that card, clear it, and then you can win the game. Now, the winning victory conditions are: you search through the territory, acquire the 5 electronic key chips, make your way to the SATCOM 1 location with at least 3 soldiers alive, and you win the game. You lose if if 2 or more of the soldiers die or become infected during the game, or your team ever reaches a critical radiation exposure that will cause your whole team to lose. So that's basically a overview of the game itself. Now let me go ahead and talk about the components. So for those that have played the original game, you will see that right off the bat, here's a new game board. And the big difference between these 2 game boards is, one, you got 360 attack radius as opposed to you had a left and right only from the old board. And this way it gives 2 soldiers on each side the possibility of taking damage. And also it allows you to use a D12 when doing placement, because everything is in ratios of, for close combat, any kind of roll will get you a placement there with a D12, same with medium, and then also with long range. So I've kind of set it up where you can use a D12 to do placement, which is kind of nice. So this is the new game board. You have where your action dice will be here. This is where they start. Whenever they get used up, they come here to the dice return pool. Here's your encounter dice for random zombie encounters or bites. And then this right here is where your radiation level is. The skull and crossbones means your whole entire party dies. And then you can keep track of the 5 components with a cube to let you know when you found each one. So that's the new part of the upgrade, or one of the new things. And then we have our 4 soldiers cards. These are the basically character cards. These are very similar to the original, but I've made some modifications to up here where now you know that if you have a colored weapon die, you don't need ammo. And then if you have a non-colored or a white, you'll need ammo with it. So these are the 4, and they're all numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll know you can do a quick D4 roll if you need to see who gets bit or radiation or whatever. So these are your character cards. They have health on one side, the bites tracked. Each card has different types of training that they've gone through to give them different actions. But still very similar to the original game, but just made this modification so it's a little better understanding of your weapons and how you can attack. Then of course we have our 4 cubes. Those are tracking the health 4 green cubes. Those track the bite wounds. So these all kind of go together with those. Then if we just cover cubes, we have 9 of the yellow. I think there's 9 yellow, because one of them gets tracked for radiation, and then the rest are used to mark off different things when you have location items. You know, what soldier it will go to, tracking how many times you use. That's what the yellow for. The blue cubes, you have one is used for tracking your location when you're inside a map location. This cube will be going through here, so you know where you're at within this location. And then the other 5 are used for tracking the electronic cards when you find them. The brown cubes, these go with the barricades. So these get destroyed when more than so many zombies reach this barricade. Now, it's different for raiders. Raiders basically have to attack it, and every time they attack, you use a cube to see what their next roll will be. And I'll cover that in the rules. So that's what the brown cubes are for. These larger red cubes, these are to track damage on zombies that have more than 1 health. So that way, if you've only done 1 damage, you can throw it on there, you know that you've done your damage. This large blue meeple, this is your movement location meeple, and that will be tracked which location you're actually on. You'll have it on here, and then when you're inside the location, it'll be left on that image. So that's what you use that for. And then we have our dice. You need 1d6, 1d4, and then you can have a number of d12, different color. You could just use 1, it's fine. But if you have more than 1, it makes it a little quicker to roll for zombie and raider locations. And then of course we have our custom dice. These are the big meat. This is the meat of the game. So you have a black, a red, a green, and a blue, and then the rest, the other 6 are white. You can use regular d6. It's not a problem. I have a chart inside the rules that will show the difference between those two if you're just using the pips. But 10 custom dice, but you need 10 d6. And then we go to our cards. So we have the zombie cards. So we have zombie, radioactive zombies. Then we have the normal zombies, which are slow, fast, and mutant. And the totals on these, we have, I'll get to those. The totals for the zombie cards, there's 35 zombie cards, including the radiation zombies. So you have 12 slow, 9 fast, 6 mutant, and then 9 of the radiation. The raiders, we have 9 raiders that we'll use. And then barricades, we have 9 barricade cards. All right. And you'll see that there's action dice will be placed on those to build it. Here's like a raider. And then your zombies. A mutant zombie. Here's a slow zombie. All right, we got a fast zombie. And then I'll explain health and damage. All right. And then we have our last 2 are, these are all location cards. This is what will make up the grid, movement grid. So you'll be using 16 of these. There's a total of 22. You'll see that some have a radiation symbol. That means when you enter this site, you're going to be taking radiation exposure. Some will have a little yellow cube on it. That means there's some ration supplies that you can find for your troops. And then we have our last second one. And this always goes in the lower right corner, and this is the last card you need to get to. That's your destination. And you'll see that on these location cards, these are the individual locations you'll be going to clear this card. These are the number of zombies, the type of zombie. That's a location item. You know, there's your ration. And you always start from left to right as you move through. And once you've cleared it, this will always stay up, and you'll know that once you get in here, the only thing you'll have to deal with is either random zombies or raiders. And then finally we have our location items. Now these are also very cool because these are things you can find that your soldiers can use. They either have a one-time use, and they'll say discard after use, or They have multiple uses. This can be held on, and they'll only be destroyed or discarded after they take so much damage. And then you have your electronic component cards. These are the 5 that you need to find, and they'll be spread out through all the different locations. Once you find all 5, then you're heading back to the SATCOM 1 to win the game. So here, this is all the components for the game. Obviously, there's a rule set, and then there's also a turn sequence that'll show you exactly what you do within each turn. So there's your components, and then let me talk about the setup. Okay, so first thing first, in this section I'm going to cover the setup of the components for the game Zombie Apocalypse, the dice game. So first things first, you're going to have your game board. Now you're going to put that on the table, head it off to the right, because you want to have a good area here to make up the map grid. So put this off to the right, set that down, and then the next thing you want to do is you take your 4 character cards, right? Now these are going to be placed in this 2x2 grid. These can be set up any way you want, arranged in any order. It's completely up to you. Just remember that when you place them down, the 2 that are facing a close combat, those are the 2 that are going to take damage. So they all have a little bit different strengths and health ranges. So you could put these out any way you want. And that's how your party arrangement is. Now these can be changed at the beginning of each turn, so they're not set for the rest of the game. Dynamics, you could lose a soldier and move things around. So this is how you want to set it up. Just pick an arrangement and set it up in the beginning. Then you want to have your 4 red cubes. Put those on the little plus, the red plus. That's max health. All right. Then we have our 4 green. These track your bite wounds. Put that on the little hand symbol. Alright, okay, so now that's your setup for your characters. And then we go ahead and take one of the yellow cubes, put it here on the radiation symbol. That tracks the radiation level of your whole group. And this can get moved based on radioactive zombies or in locations that will have radiation. The other 8, just go ahead and set off to the side. And then we have our brown cubes. Same thing, we can set those off to the side. Those are for tracking the barricades. And we have our blue. Take the 5 blue cubes. Go ahead and just set them right here. Those track when you find a component card. And we go ahead and take your radioactive zombies. Just shuffle those up. And we'll set those right up here. Alright, and then the next ones will be the regular zombies. Go ahead and shuffle those up. Now these will only have the remaining fast, slow, and mutant zombies. The radiation zombies are in their own separate pile. Leave a gap for a discard pile. Okay, and then the last one here is our raiders. You got your 9 raiders, just go ahead and shuffle those up. And again, leave a gap, and then a gap. This is the discard piles. Okay, now we have our barricade cards. We're going to go ahead and shuffle those up, and then you want to deal out 5 of these, right along the bottom edge of the board. These are the first 5 you can start building, right? And then you take your last ones, just put them over here. Discards will go underneath. So these 5 are the only ones you'll be able to build from. Once you pull one, you're just going to draw and place another one. All right, now we want to do the map grid. Now, the map grid is going to be based on a 4x4 map grid. Okay, and that's over on the left side. So you take your SATCOM card, just set it aside, and then go ahead and shuffle these. There's 21. All right. And then just deal out a 4x4 grid. Start from the top left corner and go 4, 4, 4, and then 3, because this last one is going to be the SATCOM, right? And you want to deal them face up. All right. And we have our last. Again, remember, leave that one blank. These just set off to the side. Take your last SATCOM, put it right there. Okay, then we take our blue meeple and blue cube. Go ahead and set them on there, because you always start in this top left corner, and then put the cube over onto the left side of the card. That's your starting location. Okay, we won't turn it over until we actually begin our first turn. We have these red cubes. Go ahead and set these over here. Remember, those track damage for the zombies or raiders that have more than one hit to kill. Then we have our location item cards. Okay, now these, you need to take out the 5 electronic components. Let's track those out. All right, so you take out the 5 first, these 5, and just set them aside. Then shuffle the remaining. Okay. And then, now that you have this shuffled up, you have basically 15 locations that will have location items, right? But you also have 5 that have to be fit into there. So some of them have 2, right? And what you want to do is you want to take, since you have 14 locations, and you want to make sure you don't miss these electronic components, right? So you're going to take 9 items. Probably 10. You can probably get away with 10 because there's more than likely going to be a couple in here. But I'd say take 10 item locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take the remaining of these, put them off to the side, right? And then take your 5, kind of just mix them in, and then shuffle this one really good. Right, because these are going to be the location items you find after you get to certain inner locations once you're on that map card. Right? And then once you got that shelved up, just put that over here below the grid. Okay? This right here is your play area. This is where you'll play cards or, you know, items that you find. And then go ahead and take all your dice. Just set them in your play area. Here is the final setup, and this is what you're going to start your game with. You're ready to go. So this is Zombie Apocalypse, the dice game. This is your setup, ready to play.